Hey everybody, welcome back to Hammy's Barbecue and Grilling. Appreciate you being with me here today. I am here to talk to you about whether or not you should buy a charcoal grill, and specifically a Weber Kettle Grill. So thanks again for joining me. Let's first talk about some of the pros and the cons of a charcoal grill. A couple of the pros, no particular order. Charcoal grills can often be cheaper than gas grills, depending which one you get of each category. Charcoal grills can also taste better with charcoal flavor and smoke flavor, especially if you use wood chunks or chips, compared to, say, a gas grill. Charcoal is often easier to find than propane. I know in the city where I live, it's a lot easier to find charcoal than propane. Propane's not hard to find. There's just a couple places though, and they have limited hours compared to buying charcoal at a retailer. There's a lot of reasons why I like charcoal grills. One reason is I just enjoy stoking a fire. If you've ever enjoyed putting together or stoking a campfire or a bonfire or a fireplace in your house, charcoal's a great way to go. And charcoal grills can be used as a smoker. If you take a relatively simple Weber kettle, which I'm going to show you today, it's definitely going to be a lot cheaper than smokers out there, including offset smokers. Let's talk about some of the cons now. No particular order. Charcoal can be more expensive than gas. To give you an example, I propane grill about 2 or 3 times a week. I refill my propane tank maybe every 2 or 3 months. I don't charcoal grill as much as I'd like to, but I definitely replace charcoal a lot more frequently overall in a year than I do propane. Charcoal can also be very smoky. If you live in really tight quarters, have sensitive neighbors, charcoal can be a tough way to go as well. Certain brands of charcoal can be hard to find depending where you live. I live in Greater Los Angeles and just got turned on to B&B charcoal briquettes. They're a lot more expensive than Kingsford Professional. When I go to Ace Hardware, I was fortunate to discover next time I stock up, I'll get them on Walmart.com, where they're considerably cheaper. But you may live in an area where not as many brands are available. I sometimes see brands, certain brands recommended on YouTube that I don't see, and I live in the LA area. And it's a lot more work. A friend of mine summarizes it best. Charcoal grilling, charcoal smoking, barbecue is a labor of love. It's a lot of work. I love it. But even the simplest things can be a lot more work than, say, just turning on a pellet smoker or pellet grill or just turning on a gas grill. But I really enjoy all the work involved. It's very therapeutic for me, very enjoyable. So let's have a conversation about the Weber kettle. This could be the most popular kettle grill in the United States and around the world. First of all, it's important to know you don't need a kettle grill to do charcoal. There are rectangular charcoal grills out there, ceramic, Komodo grills like the Big Green Egg that my brother has. It works real great. They all work great too. There are different styles available at the Weber kettle. I highly recommend going to Weber.com, to their site, or the websites for Home Depot or Lowe's to get a better idea of all the different sizes, options, features. I was going to go over it in the video, but I didn't want to bore you and it'd probably take up a lot of time on the video. So my kettle that I'm going to show you here is a slightly older 22-inch original kettle, what they call Original Kettle Premium. So let's go over some of the features. This is the lid. We call this the lid. We call this bottom part the bowl of the kettle grill. We have a 4-hole vent on the top. Opens and closes like so. That helps you control both smoke and the temperature of your grill. Under the lid, there's a little hook. I was working with a Weber kettle for a couple of years before somebody pointed that out. I think I saw it on YouTube. So you can set it on the side of your kettle while you're working on it. I realized in preparation for this video that this Original Kettle Premium, although it has the ash catcher and the hinged grates, it does not have a built-in thermometer. And kettle premiums for years now have had built-in thermometers right around here, across from the vent and across the handle of the lid. That is a blessing and a curse when you have those thermometers. They're definitely great to have, but listen carefully. They're good to have if you want to know the overall temperature of your grill, if you're doing something hot and fast like burgers, chicken breasts, maybe some fish. Gives you an overall temperature check on your grill. However, if you're doing something in direct grilling, like something low and slow, like brisket or ribs or a pork butt for pulled pork, what you're going to do, if you haven't done it before, is you're going to have charcoal on one side over here, about halfway, or maybe even less, depending on the temperature that you want, and depending on the size of what you're smoking. And then you'll have an indirect side here with no charcoal on this side. So watch carefully. The idea is you want the vent on the side of your food product, your protein, your meat, so that the warm air comes across over the grill, in through the top vent, and the smoke goes over the food as well. The challenge with that, when you do have, and imagine again that you have a built-in thermometer here, it's going to give you an accurate read, because perhaps where the meat is, it's 225 degrees or 250 degrees, but perhaps where the charcoal is, it's 350, 400 degrees or 300 degrees. Hope that makes sense. So if you have the built-in thermometer on the version that you get eventually or have, just use it with caution depending on what you're going to be cooking. I definitely think overall that a meat probe thermometer is more accurate than the thermometers on the Weber kettle. Newer versions of the lid handle have what's called a heat shield. It's a little thin plate of metal, kind of oval in shape, that goes between the lid handle and the lid itself, and it lets you lift off the kettle without needing to use a glove or an oven mitt. This particular older Weber Kettle Premium does not have the heat shield, so it is important for me to use a oven mitt or glove when I do remove the kettle lid. Here we have the cooking grate. This is something else that's pretty cool that I didn't learn until just recently, a couple months ago on a YouTube video. These handles you can actually put on the side handles of your bowl, rather than just putting it on the ground. I usually was leaning mine up against, the grill itself or against a wall. So this cooking grate with the original Weber Kettle Premium has little hinges on the sides that open up. Those are great because you can actually put in more charcoal, put in wood chunks or chips, especially if you're cooking with a slow and sear device or baskets. There is a version of the Weber kettle that's called Master Touch. I don't have it with me, or pictures, but it has an opening in the center, a grate, where you can remove the center grate and add more charcoal inside that gap once you take off the center part, or use what's called a vortex, which lets you do cooking from the center. And moving right along, under the cooking grate is the charcoal grate. This will get rusty over time. I bought this used and cleaned it up a little bit, but it's normal for it to get kind of dark and a little rusty. It'll last a long, long time, a lot longer than the cooking grates will. And that the cooking grate sits on top of these little edges, and the charcoal grate sits on these 4 little edges. On the bottom, we have a 3-blade thing that Weber calls the one-touch cleaning system. My hand's off camera now, probably from the angle, but there's a lever below, and you use that to clean any ash. It'll even cut up small bits of uncooked charcoal or cooked charcoal, and it disposes them down inside where my fingers are, inside an ash catcher. That also helps you regulate the temperature and oxygen from the bottom of the grill. When you're cooking, the oxygen, will be coming up through the bottom and out through the top, rather than the other way around. So here is the ash catcher and bottom section of the Weber Kettle Grill. The original premiums and other ones that come with ash catchers. This is for the one-touch cleaning system. You can hear that scraping up above. Those are those 3 blades going to work to clean up the ashes, small bits of charcoal, and to regulate your temperature with more or less air. This right here, I'm not going to undo it because it's kind of a pain to put back with the camera going, but this is actually your ash catcher. This is an older version. Different versions are a lot easier to take off, newer versions. But with this particular older version, I go up and to the left, and it'll take out this catcher for you to properly dispose of your ashes. You definitely want to wait a couple of days or 2 days, or put it in a bucket to make sure you don't burn anything down. And then over here, if you can see what I wrote here, you can use a Sharpie, permanent marker, or you can use an etching tool. It looks like a G. It's supposed to be a C. That means that the damper is closed. The one-touch cleaning system is closed. The number 4 means 1/4. It's 1/4 open. The number 2, this is just my own little system. The number 2 means 1/2. It's 1/2 open. And then 3/4, you can see that means it's 3/4 open. And then this big O means it's open 100%. The great thing about these Weber kettles, they have, if you can see, this is a rack that they say you can use to store like a bag of charcoal or tools. I don't use it for any storage because it's kind of cramped. It's easier for stuff to fall out. Most people I know don't use it, but it's there if you want it for storage. And then there's wheels, so it's not specifically portable, but you're able to take the legs off. If you have a big enough trunk in your car, throw it in your car. This older version, you have to take off the legs with a little bit of force. In newer versions, I have another 22-inch original premium kettle at my brother-in-law's where it's just push buttons like you'd see on a set of crutches or a cane. They come right off. I can actually fit my 26-inch original kettle premium in the back of my trunk. I take down the legs, take off the rack. It only takes about 5-7 minutes, and it actually fits in my car. Or if you're lucky enough to have a big old van or truck, you can obviously, tie it down and go that way. So if you're interested in possibly purchasing a Weber kettle, I do recommend you buy one used. I bought this Weber kettle, 22-inch original kettle premium for $20. That's 20 on Facebook Marketplace. That was an exceptional steal. And then I put in about $10 worth of cleaning products and a lot of elbow grease, and it looks great. I can't wait to cook on it. In addition to Facebook Marketplace, you can also find a lot of Weber products, a lot of Weber grills on OfferUp, the app OfferUp, as well as Craigslist. Years ago, I bought a Weber Performer, older version. Those are the kettles with the tables attached. I got one for $25. I've seen them advertised for as high as $150, the actual older model that I saw. One of the 22 inches, at my brother-in-law's house, I bought it for $70. It had only been used about 3 or 4 times. So if you want to buy new, by all means do it. The last I checked, I think they retailed for about $219 to $239 for a 22-inch premium, depending what color you buy. 26 inches now, if you go that route, which I highly recommend down the road if you're into it. They're brand new now for about $450, $479. They're a lot more expensive, but you get a lot more room. So Weber has amazing quality. The bowl and the lid are warranted for 10 years. And then their customer service out there in the Chicago area where they're based is amazing too. So whether you buy new or used, totally your choice. A good advantage of buying used, you can see if you want to get into charcoal grilling if you're new to it. You can see if you want to get into Weber kettle grilling if you're new to that. It's a good way to go, but like I said, new is a good way to go too. So that's it for the video today. I want to thank you for joining me today. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are. And if you really liked what you saw, please subscribe and hit the notification button. Leave me a like or a comment if you wish, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for tuning in.